So sustainability, in my definition, is a very wide concept. It's also about energy, about water, about social and other economical aspects we conquer in the society. And sustainability is a concept we need to survive on this planet as human population, and we have to work on all these 17 issues to make it happen.
Welcome to Circular Economy Challenges and Opportunities podcast, where we uncover the pathways to a sustainable future. This podcast is available within and outside Saxion University of Applied Sciences. I'm your host, Merhaba Ishaq, and today we're joined by Harry van Bommel, a true visionary in the field of circular innovations. Join us as we delve into the transformative power of circular business models and circular thinking, exploring the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. In this segment, we will dive deep into the world of circular innovations with Harry and focus on collaboration for circular transition. You're the program manager of the Field Lab Circular Innovations. Can you tell our audience what Field Lab is?
A Field Lab is a program in which we support companies to work on circular innovations. And we did that now for 4 years, and we did about 20 projects together with companies. And they ask our questions about how can we improve our product, our business model, or both. And we look for students, but also researchers from different research groups within Saxion to develop the product. And to develop the project. So we look for students and researchers from different research groups to develop a real project which we can then conduct together with the company. I develop very often these kind of projects, but not all these research activities are done by me. They are done by researchers from different groups together with students and business in outside of Saxion. Mm-hmm. We also develop tools, new tools. We evaluate tools. We use tools that are already available. Mm-hmm. And students in the minor circular economy, for example, we teach them the tools and then they use them in the projects
to help the companies.
Together with the companies. Yeah.
Can you share us one of the projects you have done within the Field Lab?
Well, I give you one example. We did recently. We did a project together with a company which is cleaning water systems, mm-hmm. and they're using a lot of electronic machines to control their processes. And they're being renovated. Then they throw away all these old bags and things they are in. And we looked at how can we repair it instead of throwing it away. Mm-hmm. How can we maybe reuse parts of it instead of throwing everything away? Mm-hmm. So we call it a refurbish. Refurbish means the product is not used again as it is, mm-hmm. but we improve the product and then we reuse it for different functions.
Different purposes. Yeah.
It's a technological question, but it's also how to organize it. Mm. Because what most repairing systems do, they replace it, they throw it away, and they replace it by a new part.
Exactly.
But you can also look at what can we still do with the part that needs reparation. Yep. You don't have to throw it away. You can take it out, you can take it apart and say, okay, these parts have to be replaced. Mm-hmm. But the other parts we can clean, we can check the quality, and we can put it back in the system.
Yep.
This is an important aspect of circularity, mm-hmm. is extending the lifetime of products, but also parts of products as long as possible.
Yeah.
And we did that with researchers from industrial design, but also researchers from our own research group business models. So it's a combination of technology, how can we check quality of products and materials, but also how to organize it together with the supplier and the user and the maintenance managers.
Yep.
So these examples show that it's possible. And it's becoming more and more practice also to focus on maintenance and using products and parts again.
Yeah, it's called Field Lab Circular Innovations.
Yes.
What exactly is circular economy in your own words?
That is quite a difficult question. I talk mainly about circular innovations. Why? Because the word circular economy suggests that it's only about economy. Mm-hmm. When we started this Field Lab, we talked with a lot of research groups within Saxion. And specifically the technical research group said, do you want us to join the circular economy initiatives? We don't know anything about economy. We are chemists, we are physics, we are biologists. Then I said, okay. Then I changed the name because I want you to join the program. So I talk now about circular innovation in the manufacturing industry because that's our focus. And it's not only about economy. It's about a lot of disciplines we need together to improve. But yes, at national scale, we have circular economy. But economy more or less is seen as society. You could also say we want the society to become more circular.
Circular, yeah.
And not only the economy. And society is more than only the economy. So it's also a bit of definition. What do you want to say? What do you want to achieve? In my definition, only I call it production and consumption systems can be more or less circular.
But we usually use circular economy compared to linear economy, where we take, make, and waste, and we use the circular economy as a way of thinking, like how can we use products and then at the end of the day have as little waste as possible. How we can make sure that we have less environmental impact with the products we use.
Of course. I know all these definitions, but the suggestion that our economy at the moment is fully linear and that we want a fully circular economy is, of course, dreaming. Let's say I don't talk about linear economies and circular economies in that sense. I talk about inefficient use of resources and materials.
Exactly.
That's the focus. We want to use materials and resources much more efficient than we do at the moment. And that's what we focus on when we use the word circular. And to more or less say that we don't do anything yet. Well, because of my age, I can tell, what did we do 50 years ago? Yeah. We already recycled paper and glass and metals for 40, 50 years. So to say that we don't do anything on circularity...
You didn't do anything on circularity.
That's not true, of course. We already worked on circularity principles for many, many decades. Yeah. But we can improve, and we have to improve.
The thing is, we are creating more waste now than before. We have more packaging. We buy more products as consumers. Yeah. We also send back more products when we don't like products. So actually, we are creating more waste in the world compared to 50 years ago, I imagine. And looking back at the developments and how we are going, we cannot go like this. Like, we cannot go wasting more products. We have to find a way to make sure that the way of living can be sustainable for our future generations. We also have one thing, like the Netherlands wants to be sustainable or fully circular by the year 2050. How do you look at that?
And it's a bit difficult definition. Again, I think countries cannot be circular. And also even products cannot be circular. Systems can be more or less circular. So it's also a kind of range. You can say the system needs to deliver, for example, plastic cups is more or less circular. So how closed is it? What's the percentage of recycled plastic we use in new products? That's then the question. When we use 90% recycled plastics to make new products, then you say, okay, then the loop of this system is
closed.
Nearly closed. Yeah. Not theoretical 100% closing the loops of materials is impossible.
You lose materials energy
you always
along
lose
the way.
Materials and quality in any system. But at some let's say systems and some materials, we're doing very bad. For example, textiles, we recycle and reuse only 1% at the moment from all the textiles
1%.
In the systems. So 99% is not being recycled. We do have a lot of second-hand clothes. We do have a lot of but it will become waste one day, of course.
Yeah, so if we don't recycle. Yeah.
We can extend the lifetime, but we cannot stop. So at a certain moment, even the second-hand clothes will become waste. And then what to do with that?
We discussed about it before, like the quality of the clothes are very important if we want to recycle. The materials are very important. Like if it's not 100% cotton or 100% wool, or other materials is really hard to recycle?
The recycling possibilities become worse when the material is low of quality. And we see in the clothing sector that the clothes that are being sold in the markets are becoming less of quality, which means that we can collect it, we can try to separate it, but recycling is bad. When you have a good quality of material, then also the material, even when it becomes waste, is better to recycle because it has a better quality on the fibers and on the materials. Yes. But yeah, then you should say buy less and buy more quality.
Yeah.
So when you buy a new coat for the winter, buy one you use for 10 years, which is more expensive, of course.
But
it
students
has a higher
like,
quality.
or me, I also want fashionable clothes.
Yeah.
How do we deal with this issue?
That's a difficult question. I supervised a student that did research in his master thesis on making products what they call modular. So, but all the parts then can be put together. You can even change parts of your product in a different color or in a different shape because you want to be fashionable. But all these products and elements can be used for a longer time, and the quality is a high quality material. So being fashionable doesn't mean you have to throw away everything away after 2 years.
Yeah. And secondhand is also an option.
Yeah, but then, of course, some people will say, yeah, but in the second-hand market, I don't have the new designs and the new colors. So when you want to be fashionable, you want to, well, to have the colors of the season and not the colors from 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So that is still a problem.
Yeah. I'm working on it. How can businesses, especially those in the manufacturing industry, adopt circular practices to reduce waste and promote sustainability? We talked about clothing industry, but what about the manufacturing industry?
Well, we did several projects in the manufacturing industry, and what they should do is start with designing their products in a different way. And we call it modular designing, which means that they design the products in a way that parts are put together, which means they can also be easily taken out after they've been used, or for a reparation or maintenance. So with that is where it starts. A lot of products are made in a way that they're difficult to take apart after they've been used or for repairing. And that's because producing in that way is cheaper. It's faster. So when you make a shoe, it's easier to glue it together and put it together because it's cheaper and faster. But when you glued it, repairing it afterwards becomes more difficult. So it's also mind shift.
Yeah.
And some companies start also to give maintenance and reparation as service to the clients instead of only selling the product.
Yeah.
Which means that then the service and the maintenance is also your problem.
Yeah. We talked about Patagonia.
Yeah, Patagonia
as one
is of course an example. Patagonia is in the let's say in the clothing sector a very special
one
company.
of the pioneers. Yeah.
But for most students they're far too expensive.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't talk too much about Patagonia very often because it's a very specific segregated target group they focus on, and in the mainstream. You could also talk about Zeeman, which is very cheap labor, but they do on circularity and sustainability very well.
Yeah.
And most people don't know. They think that Zeeman is a very bad company, not working on sustainability, but they win sustainability prizes all the time.
Okay.
Because they're doing very well. But they have a different business model.
Yeah.
They are much cheaper.
Different customer base. Yeah.
The biggest difference is their margin. Because they might buy the products for the same price as Patagonia Zeeman, but they sell them for much cheaper, lower price. So they accept that they earn less per product. And that is a different system. But they also have less commercial activities in the marketing and also kind of things. So they don't spend so much money on branding and marketing.
Yep.
And that's why they have a very different business model. So the idea that when products are very expensive, then they will also be more sustainable, forget it, because that's not true.
Yeah. Going back to the modular thinking, when I was preparing for this podcast, I looked at a video of a researcher explaining circular economy to a very young child. I think he was around 7 years old. He used Lego. He said, build something with the Legos. And then he said, build something again. And the boy just put the Lego pieces apart and then build something again. And he said, that's exactly circular economy. So when we build something, we have to keep in mind that we can take it apart and build something again with the parts. So I thought, oh, that's really nice, a way of thinking about what circular economy is. With the materials we have, with the resources we have, to build things, to build new things again. That's what I liked a lot, and that's also what you do in the field lab together with the companies, to look at different parts in the manufacturing industry, how we can extend the life of the products and parts of the products, what you mentioned about. What are some of the key challenges faced by companies when transitioning to circular business models?
A lot. We have technical problems, of course, that some parts and materials are very hard to repair or very hard to recycle, technical issues. But we also have a lot of organizational problems. That, of course, the supply chains we have now in the markets, very often companies produce, they sell, and then they don't feel responsible anymore for the products. Mm-hmm. That should change. So then the company should feel responsible also when the product is sold, mm-hmm. because it's still their product, even when it's sold.
Yeah, they should take responsibility even when the products are sold.
Yeah, we call it extended producer responsibility, which means that the producer is also responsible for the product when it's sold. Mm-hmm. The European Union is making a lot of policies on this new EPR, as we call it, making companies responsible. So that is the organizational aspect. Financial, it's also very complicated because, let's say, the regular systems don't pay for the damage they cause. Mm-hmm. So you pay for the materials you buy in the market. Yeah. You pay for what you make. Mm-hmm. And then when a product is causing all kind of environmental problems, you don't have to pay for it. Yeah. Causing environmental pollution is free of charge. Yeah. So when what we call make the external costs, as we call them, the environmental problems you cause are costs, but societal costs. When we make these part of the price of your product and your materials, the whole business will change.
It's very funny. My son is starting to read. He's in group 3. He's 6 years old, and then he's reading everything. And he read on the packaging of one of the ketchup brands, I'm not mentioning which brand, and it says it's recyclable. And he says, oh, it's such a good company and the packaging is recyclable. And I told him, yes, it is recyclable. The question is, does the company recycle the packaging?
Yes. Well, this is, of course, what happens a lot, that on packaging you see a lot of these kind of information. Mm-hmm. This kind of products are recyclable, but who's going to do it? The company that sells will not recycle it. They fill it, they sell it, and then it's gone. So somebody else has to recycle it. And sometimes, yes, it happens. Sometimes it doesn't. But recyclable will not guarantee it will happen. It says it's possible.
To recycle. So it's about taking responsibilities as companies for their products and how to recycle them, and then to reduce the environmental impact of the products they put on the market. In your opinion, what role do consumers play in driving the transition towards circular economy? So we do say, like, companies have responsibilities, but what are the responsibilities of the consumers?
Consumers can do 3 things. The first one is buy less. But if you bought something, then try to extend the lifetime of the product as long as possible. Yeah. And the third step is, when the product is really not useful anymore, deliver it to the right place. Yeah. So put it in the right container, bring it to the right place where they can know what the product is, and they know how to take it apart, how to recycle or repair and maintain it. Yeah. So these are the 3 steps you can take. But yes, buying less is the first step. And of course, buying better products, which last longer, is always good for the environment.
I also heard about durability. So durability of the products are very important. And there's also a term called emotional durability. So it's about buying products you truly love, even if it costs, it doesn't matter how much the product costs, if you can afford it. Buy something you love will help you to use the products longer.
Of course. So emotional binding to a product, yes, of course, that is important. Some people still wearing the winter coat of their grandmother, which is an emotional binding. But also the winter coats from grandmothers were much better than the winter coats now, because they were made of 100% wool with a very high quality of material, and you can use them for 100 years. When you have to keep them clean and you have to maintain them, but the quality of the material was really very good.
Yeah.
So that is a difference between products we sell at the moment and products we made in the past.
Suction also wants to be more circular and sustainable. From this school year, we don't have the one-use cups anymore. And I feel like we are all used to using our own cups. I can't imagine going back to the old way of just wasting all the cups. And my question is, how can Section do more to become more circular or sustainable?
Well, we can do much more, and they're working on it. So our internal departments that do, for example, the procurement of all the products we use, the furniture, they're working on it, and they can improve, because that's one of the main processes, I think. The products we buy and we use daily as Saxion, and they can be more sustainable, more circular, and we're working on it. But we are big and slow, and we also have to meet, for example, European policies. So we cannot buy everything we want. So we have to incorporate it into our procedures and into our systems. They are working on it, and maybe some people think it's too slow, it should go faster, but yeah. I think the cups is a good example. I think it was a success. Most people are now used to it and think it's normal.
Yeah.
So we can change, but yeah, it takes time.
Yeah, change takes time, but when you're used to it, you just feel like, yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
You accept it, and then you know it's like this, so that's okay. And I think we have a lot of examples. We already improved a lot compared to 25 years ago. So yeah, but of course we have to give an example as university to our students, to others, on how to do that. We could, for example, stop selling water in bottles in our supermarkets at Spar or at that's one of the issues. So why do we sell water in bottles when we have water from the tap, which has the highest quality in the world in the Netherlands?
Yeah.
So why do we want to buy water in bottles?
Yeah.
Stop selling them.
Stop selling, and then using maybe even less paper. We have already reduced our temperature in the rooms at Saxion.
Exactly. So and these things already happen. We
have some good initiatives.
We already use less paper because printing is not so much anymore. It's already reduced a lot. But there's one warning there, because most people think when you stop printing that you use less energy and that you use less materials, but that's not true. Because all these electronic systems we're using now for this podcast, they're using a lot of energy. So all these social media and the use of energy of social media is enormous.
AI and social media.
So that's also an issue we have to consider. So all these pictures you put on Facebook from your holiday, they take a lot of energy because they all have to be stored somewhere. And that's all energy use. Not only energy, also material. All these big back boxes at industrial areas that are there as service for your social media systems are enormous.
So we also have to reduce our digital waste.
Yes.
I really like this topic. I'm also very passionate about it, circular economy. The time is going very fast. We also have a lot of questions from our students and colleagues. I have prepared a question box. Actually, it's a question basket. My Smart Solutions group, are you ready to be a circular leader? My students have put in some questions, and our colleagues from the business models also put in some questions in my box. So let's see which question you get as the first question.
Okay. This is the first question. The Netherlands has a thriving market for second-hand goods and sharing platforms. How do these initiatives contribute to the circular economy, and what opportunities do they present for businesses and consumers? yes, we do have a lot of thriving markets and second-hand possibilities. And I think it's good to extend lifetime of products because that's what happens with second-hand products. But we do see that some second-hand sharing and selling is not replacing buying new products. And then it should. When it doesn't replace buying new products, then it's becoming even more materials and
but
more.
we're just getting more and more, even if it's secondhand.
Yeah, so that is a risk. And also here in this question, they're talking about sharing platforms. And sharing platforms can support circularity, but not always. Because also sharing platforms sometimes increase consumption. So they increase that you use more. For example, these electrical scooters you can use in sharing platforms, while these young people from the age they're using, they can cycle easily without any support because they are young and healthy. So why do they need electrical vehicles? The same with electrical bikes. There's a lot of discussion now that young people should move more for their own health.
Yeah.
And they're all traveling around with electric bikes. Why?
Yeah.
So that is, and you can share them, which is, well, maybe better than owning it all yourself, but sharing electrical bikes, I wouldn't support that. There was also a kind of principle that sharing platforms would be good for using less products and then also having less environmental impact. In theory, it might be true. In practice, it doesn't.
What about product as a service, as Philips is doing?
Yes, of course. When you deliver products as a service, then you don't sell the product, but you deliver it as a service. Then you also have very often the maintenance of the product, and you can bring it back after you used it because then they collect it. In theory, that system is better for the environmental impact, but also there, we see, as an example, we know, of course, traditionally already the lease cars. And we said, okay, that's product as a service because you lease the car, you don't buy it, you don't own it. But what happens with the lease cars after a few years? Most of them are sold second-handed to Eastern Europe or Africa. They go outside of our control. So that's not very good for environmental impact. But what happens in Eastern Europe and in Africa with these cars after they've been sold?
Yeah.
We don't know. We have no idea. Probably they end up in landfills. So to say that a product as a service is always good for circularity and environmental impact,
It's not always true.
No, it's in theory it could support, but it's not always true.
Okay, let's go to the second question.
What is the biggest reason that circularity is not realized as it is supposed to be?
Oh, very big question.
Yeah, well, I already told that we have challenges, technical challenges, organizational challenges, but I think the main reason is financial.
Okay.
We, for example, see at the moment that some companies that are very active on recycling plastics, they go bankrupt at the moment. Why? Because buying virgin material is cheaper than using recycled material.
Okay.
So they have a lot of recycled material available to make new products, but the companies that make new products buy virgin material because it's cheaper. So they go bankrupt. And then the question is, why is recycled material more expensive than virgin material? Because that is the main question. Well, the virgin material is from the world market, and the price at the world market we cannot influence in the Netherlands. We are in a global economy, yes, so we buy products and materials
all over the world
in the global market, and the prices in the global market are influenced by all kinds of aspects we cannot control in the Netherlands. And then, of course, let's say in 5 years, maybe the price of virgin material will increase, and then we want to use the recycled material, but then these companies are bankrupt. So they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
So, but that is really a big issue. And of course, a lot of policies know, governments know that this is a problem, but they cannot solve it because you cannot solve it at national level. The Netherlands cannot solve this. Even the European Union, you could pay, for example, you can make a law to put tax on virgin materials. And in the European Union, they are talking about it. so that when you enter new materials into the European market, you have to pay tax when it's virgin. You don't have to pay it when it's recycled.
Okay.
So then you make a difference between recycled material and virgin material in the tax rate. Well, these are ideas to stimulate using recycled
materials, yeah.
The European Union is also working on legislation which goes even further. In the future, for example, products made from plastic sold in the European market should contain 30% recycled plastics.
Okay.
No choice, it has to have 30%
Minimum
recycled
of
content.
30% recycled plastic.
So when you buy a cup like this in the future, it contains 30% recycled plastics. And they're forced to use it.
Yeah.
So they don't look at the price, you have to do it.
Yep.
We see in the business-to-business relations that they do it much better because they want to know exactly what happened and they don't accept the word circular as argument.
As such, yeah.
Because that's not clear. What do you mean? So be more precise. What do you mean? And they ask very detailed aspects of materials. Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Okay. Where do you see the biggest opportunities and threats currently? As I said, one of the biggest threats is this problem with the price of recycled materials and the price of repairing. Another example there is that, for example, the tax rate for repairing could be changed. In Sweden and Denmark, they already did. They reduced the tax rate for repairing activities. In the Netherlands, they didn't. So that's something they could do. That is an issue that can be solved at national level. So the Dutch government could do this. That could help because it can make the price difference lower. One of the challenges, of course, is that organizational aspects in the supply chain. What we see is that a lot of companies don't really cooperate with all these actors in the supply chain now. What happened in the past in supply chains is that cut up the supply chains in pieces and everyone was responsible for their own piece.
Yeah.
And then they did it and they throw it over the fence, as I call it. So they just say, okay, I'm finished and now it's your turn. And now
it's your responsibility.
It's not my responsibility anymore because I am finished.
Yeah.
Well, for circular improvements, we need more cooperation in supply chains. And that is not easy because we build systems that are globally very often. In most sectors, they are global systems with a lot of different actors. And they are more or less used to only take their own responsibility for their own bit. And that's it. And now they have to talk with each other and share responsibilities throughout the whole supply chain and organize it. Well, that is really a difficult issue for most companies.
Sharing not only responsibility, but knowledge, expertise, and technology.
Yeah,
maybe?
That's also an issue. Of course, we have, let's say, an open market, and we have big competition in these open markets. So sharing knowledge is not easy because it might get into problems with the competition. So sharing knowledge with competitors is necessary for circularity, but most companies really don't like that.
You gave an example about Auping, that they share their way of recycling.
Yeah, Auping is a company that did a lot of research on circularity. They developed the first circular mattress in the world, and they're using materials that are really 100% recyclable. And what they did is they said that it can only be a success when all companies that make and use mattresses use the same technology and the same materials, because then we can together recycle them. Because we have only a part of the market, of course, as Auping, but we need collective systems to recycle these mattresses when they come back. And when all these mattresses are made from different materials, made in a different way, then a collective system is not very efficient.
Doesn't work very efficiently.
So they gave away the knowledge of their circular mattress development, even when they invested a lot of money themselves to develop it.
Very nice. Let's look at the next question, Harry.
Okay,
dun, 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 dun.
We take another question. Where do you see the division between the circular economy or circularity and sustainability? Which is more attainable and why?
Good question.
Well, For me, the topic circularity is one of the topics under sustainability. So sustainability, in my definition, is a very wide concept with 17 Sustainable Development Goals underneath.
Yeah.
And circularity is about using resources very efficient. So it's part of the definition of sustainability. But sustainability is much more. It's also about energy, about water, about social and other economical aspects we conquer in the society. So I cannot choose which is more important. Sustainability is a concept we need to survive on this planet as human population. And we have to work on all these 17 issues to make it happen. And some of them are connected to resources and using resources efficient. When you ask me what's more important, it's an impossible question to answer because they're so connected. I think we should work on all these 17 sustainable development goals. And we should, of course, look at the connection between all these 17 goals. And one of the aspects underneath all these is how to use resources and materials into our systems more efficient. And then we will reduce all kinds of negative environmental impacts.
I can imagine without dealing with the circular economy challenges, we cannot reach some of the sustainable development goals.
But let's say when we look at the environmental aspects of sustainability, because sustainability also contains social and more economical aspects, but when we look at the environmental aspects of sustainability, I use very much the 9 planetary boundaries.
Exactly,
And that's another way of looking at it and say, okay, we have 9 planetary boundaries.
We've already reached a lot of them.
And 6 of them we already
reached.
But we're not doing very well on that. And biodiversity, the use of water, but also all kinds of other impacts are also important.
Okay, let's go to our one last question.
Okay, let's see. What's the biggest lie that companies tell about being circular? Or do you have any examples of companies faking circularity? Well, it is again a definition issue. As I said, in my definition, a product cannot be circular. You can say, okay, this product is recyclable. But when the product is not being recycled, then I can say, why do you call the product circular when it's not being recycled? So in my definition, only the system as a whole can be circular or not, not the product. But a lot of companies do, pretend that their product is circular or their company is circular. And then, let's say I ask students also, but also companies very often, what do you mean when you use the word circular? You say, my product is circular, and I say, what do you mean when you say that? Oh, it's recyclable. Then why do you use the word circular? Why don't you say it's recyclable? Or why don't you say it contains 30% recycled material? Because that's much more
easier
clear
to understand.
Yeah, circular is a buzzword. It's used a lot to tell that you're doing very good. But when you don't define it properly, nobody knows what you mean. So I prefer that you use the right word and not, the word circular when it might. You could say it's refurbished, it's second-handed, it contains 30% recycled material, or it's recyclable. Then why don't you use these words? Because that's very clear then what you're saying, and I can check if it's true. When you use the word circular, I have no idea what you mean.
It's also very hard to measure whether a product is circular or not. We are trying to use some tools to measure the circularity of a product. Usually the R letter is used, like the higher up you're in the R letter, the more circular a product is. Even then, it's a really hard tool to measure whether a product is circular or not. I think, as you said, we have to be more specific about the products we use and what it contains and what do you mean by a product being sustainable or circular. Thank you very much, Harry. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights and knowledge with us. It has been an enlightening discussion on the very important topics on circular economy. Join us in our upcoming episodes on our Spotify channel or at video.saxion.nl/podcasts as we delve deeper into the challenges and opportunities of the circular economy, featuring discussions with researchers, industry experts, companies, and students alike. Until then, have a fantastic day.